Hi there, Release Fire here. So I'm going to talk you through how I managed to beat the Hell House here in Final Fantasy VII Remake. It's a grueling battle, and making sure you've got half decent materia in place is important. However, there's kind of some weird things in terms of the magic, so I'll take you through those in a little bit. Hopefully the video is going to help you out. If it does, drop me a like below, but I'm just going to talk you through the materia to begin with. So I started out, I switched out fire materia for lightning materia for Cloud, then I had MP up, elemental damage, HP up, and then I switched out first strike materia for the added benefit of refocus materia, which kind of really helps late on in the fight. And then in terms of Aerith, I had ice, healing materia, and magic up, and that was just about enough to be able to make it through this fight. However, it's kind of funny because to begin with, when you're doing magic on it, it seems to not have any benefit. In fact, it adds to its strength. You can see here, I've done the damage, but its health bar went up with ice materia. So to begin with, it didn't feel like magic was doing any good. However, later on in the fight, it does start to do a little bit better. But to begin with, you definitely want to focus in with Cloud. Get in close and do as much damage as you can. And the idea is that you're building up your ATBs to be able to dish out the focused thrust. And that is generally to try to get it to stagger as quickly as possible. The problem is that this is one tough boss, so it feels like your damage isn't actually landing and isn't actually having an impact. However, over time it will start to build up and you'll start to notice your stagger getting a little bit closer to around about the 50% mark. If you keep on focusing on it, it just takes a lot of time, a lot of pummeling. The Hell House is a beast. And then to add insult to injury, it also has this really annoying move where it opens the front door, lets Cloud in and just sort of chews him up. So at that stage you have to switch on over to Aerith, and this time I use Blizzard once again, and instead of adding to its health bar, it actually detracted, which you can see there. Its health bar went down, so it's kind of got this weird mechanic where early on in the boss fight, spells seem to add to its health bar, and then later on they can be used to chip away at it. So it's a really weird boss fight, but if you keep hitting away at it, it will go through to the second phase, which is this, where it's got this kind of head and wings and legs and moves around. And the biggest move you need to be aware of is when it opens the front door and tries to suck you on in, you just need to kind of roll back away from it. In Aerith's case, you need to dodge backwards away from it, and you can keep on hitting it, but you definitely need to back off as much as possible. And then you just back into switching on into Cloud, using the focus thrust and trying to get it to stagger again. Obviously, when it's switched from the first phase to the second phase, its stagger bar goes all the way back down to the very beginning, so you've got to kind of build that up. The other thing to do is obviously use your cures to keep everybody in the game and try to avoid these if you could. I couldn't find any kind of way to stay out of the way of those. I just tried to dodge and move out of the way. And then when it's pressured, you can then start to use magic on it and use cures and just keep yourself in the game and try to do as much damage as possible. And adding to the weird kind of magic thing from earlier, you can see here it's down on the ground, and this time I'm using Blizzard. Watch the impact that just happened in terms of its stagger bar. He had about 30% added to stagger, which helped me to get it to this phase. And then as soon as he goes down, switch on into Cloud and use your Punisher mode to do as much damage as you can. And then you're just kind of back to trying to cycle through the same things. As soon as Aerith gets healing wings, you definitely want to use it. However, sadly in my case, I got chewed up as a part of the process, but it did allow me to use Cloud's refocus limit break while it was going through that entire process. And you can see in the bottom right hand corner that Cloud's now got 3 ATB bars. And that means that I can now pick up 3 ATBs instead of just 2, which definitely helped me to finish off the Hell House. So you can see here I'm just doing a lot of rolls, getting in my cures and trying to do as much damage as possible, rolling out of the way of this if you can. If you keep on rolling, you can't stay out of the way of it. It's a long time, but just keep rolling and you will definitely get out of the way of it. And then you're back into trying to do your damage on the claws and getting yourself an ATB charge. You can see mine are easier to build up. I don't need as much damage to be able to build up an ATB bar, and then I'm using that damage to hit the claws, which brings it down. And you will have seen that I've been using Fat Chocobo, its Aerith summons, essentially just to add in a little bit more damage, but it didn't do loads and loads. And then I'm back to focusing it in on clouds, where I can use lightning to finish off the second phase, and then it takes flight and starts to fly around. And at this stage, your best bet is to switch on over to Aerith, who can hit it with her ranged attacks, which will then build up an ATB, which I can use to give her a little bit more health with a cure for this final phase. And you definitely need to keep an eye on everybody's health bar as you're going in this fight. But in general, you can just sort of stand back, use blizzards where you can on the Hell House itself. It won't do huge amounts of damage, but it does bring it down and stop the barrier, and that will bring it down for a lot of time to switch on into Cloud, go into Punisher mode, and then use Thundara, and smash away at that health bar. Keep on going with that as a process, and you should be able to get it very close to the final stagger, which I've done here. And then I've saved Cloud's Limit Breaker and a little bit of Blizzard from Aerith to be able to finish it off. And that is how I managed to beat the Hell House here in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I said earlier, hopefully the video helps you out. If it does, drop me a like below. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, with the links on the left hand side, and check out the rest of my guide for Final Fantasy VII Remake with the links on the right hand side. Leave any comments below, let me know how you get on against the Hell House, and I will catch you next time.